Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. In the last video that I did, I went over a rumor that YouTube was slowing down Firefox web browser as a result of code that it was pushing to Firefox that would result in a 5-second delay if you were using Firefox that did not happen in other browsers. I tried it myself. I tried it in stock Google Chrome. I tried it in Firefox with uBlock Origin and everything else. I tried it in Firefox without uBlock Origin and everything else. And I also tried it in Brave browser. And in all of these different browsers, I did not get a 5-second delay. It seemed like this was one of those things where they were experimenting and giving different users different stuff. Sometimes YouTube does stuff like this. I was not able to confirm this issue, but there were many others that have good reputations that were. I said there are most likely 3 scenarios here. Behind door number 1, this is some random bug. Behind door number 2, in spite of being in the middle of a giant antitrust suit, Google decided to purposely destroy their opposition web browser by making their browser and not any other web browser very slow, which is essentially the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Even for the greediest bastard on planet Earth, wait till the trial is over before you do something like that. Or behind door number 3, they were just trying to mess with ad blockers and people that use ad blockers, and maybe this was collateral damage. And it looks like number 3 happens to be the case. This comes from The Verge. They say that they received an email from YouTube that says, in the past week, users using ad blockers may have experienced suboptimal viewing, which include delays in loading, regardless of the browser they're using. YouTube Communications Manager Christopher Lawton wrote in an email. Lawton wrote that disabling the ad blocker should resolve the issue, though users may still experience a temporary delay in loading until their browser is refreshed. Lawton also said that users will keep seeing issues like this as YouTube's ad blocker detection methods improve. Now, I have said for a very long time, before this was even really a discussion in 2023, I've said this back in 2022, I've said this back in 2021, if you use an ad blocker on the internet, I really don't have any problem with that. I have been using an ad blocker for as long as I can remember. Even the FBI at this point tells you, install an ad blocker, a public service announcement from December 21st, 2022 from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And it says down here, use an ad blocking extension when performing internet searches. Most internet browsers allow a user to install extensions, including extensions that block advertisements. And who am I to argue with the FBI? In 2001 in Mozilla 1.0.1, back then, I was still right-clicking, block all images from the server, and loading serverless into my web browser so that I could have an ad-free browsing experience. I have no problem paying for content on the internet. I have no problems paying for what it is I consume. I don't like ads. It bothers me. And it also bothers me that when I do things like pay $40 a month for Bloomberg News, and they still put ads in the content after I pay them $40 a month to read their damn news website. I feel guilt-free blocking ads at this point in time because I am willing to pay. And sometimes, even when I pay you, you still shove unskippable ads. So I have no problem with anybody using an ad blocker. There is no moral quandary here. However, some of the things that I've been reading in response to this, in my opinion, are absolutely insane. I've read people saying, I can't believe that they're making their service worse. Why do they continue to make their service worse? And it seems to show a lack of understanding of their side of this entire thing. And the thing that I think drives me the most crazy when I read this stuff is essentially the implication that they should care about you. Let me explain. If you don't watch the ads and you don't pay them for their service, you are not a customer. And since you are not a customer, they do not care about you. Not only do they not care if their service is worse for you, they would like to see you go away. They would actually be happy to see you go away. They may make more money if you go away as a result of you not using their server resources. Now, this is where everybody will come in and run in and go, but wait, they're stealing my data. They're taking my data. Because they have my data, that you don't understand. They took my data, so I paid for the service. And this is the point where everybody downloads the video. Are you ready? Are you ready? As somebody who despises Google, as somebody who thinks that they take a lot of data, and they have not taken your data. Let me explain. The average person, the demographic of people that tend to say that are the people that run LibreWolf instead of stock Firefox, that install a ping blocker, that install a canvas blocker, that install uBlock, that explicitly block all Google and YouTube cookies from their web browser every single time they log on. The average person that is in that camp that says that type of stuff is not running stock Android. They are running Graphene OS with Google Play services and framework not installed on their device. The average person that says that is a person that knows damn well how to ensure that Google gets none of their personal data, no personal identifiers. That person is not using Google location services on their phone. They're using Mozilla or something else. They are using organic maps instead of Google Maps to get around. The average person that says that is going above and beyond and is technically savvy enough to ensure that Google gets none of their personal data. So when they say I am paying them by giving them my personal data, no, you're not. You know you're not. To be clear, I did a video on this 7 years ago. I don't care what you do. You do you. I'm not going to criticize you with these things. I just want you to be honest about it. And that was the point of this video that I did 7 years ago. Do you. Just be real. 99% of the people who use that defense are not giving Google any personal data because they have the technical savvy and know-how to ensure that Google gets jack shit from them, from tracking cookies, from looking at their web habits, from knowing who they are and figuring out who they are based on their login on their Android phone, or they're using their real name when they log into Google Play. They're not doing that. And the best analogy I could give to this is a customer that I had in my store about 11 to 10 years ago. I have run a business that has always believed in making information available for free. Many other repair shops believed that if you make information available for free, customers will try to fix things on their own and you will go out of business. It is not your job to help customers do repairs. And I have always thought this is bullshit. Even before I had my YouTube channel, I always made cross-compatibility information available for free, and I always tried to help people whenever I could. And when I started my YouTube channel, I created over 600 component-level board repair videos, not the type of hyper fast-forwarded bullshit where you only see a little bit, just enough to know that you could pay me to do it, but not enough to learn. I put enough in there that you could do the job yourself. I created a repair wiki that is very, very detailed, that allows you to figure out exactly how to fix many of these devices. I want people to have as much information on how to do the repair themselves for free. I don't want people coming to me because I've made their experience more annoying the way YouTube has. Let me shove as many ads as possible. Let me make them unskippable. Let me make you wait 5 seconds before you come to the website. I've always tried to make the experience better for people, even if they're not paying me. Here's all the information you need on how to do this for free. But I'm still here if you want to pay me. And my business model has always been, let me make it as easy as possible for you, even if you're not paying me. But let me make my service so good that you want to pay me, even when you could do this for free. That being said, there was one dude that tested this for a year. Every single time he walked in the shop, he would never spend money, never even say hello. He would just start asking a bunch of questions and taking advantage of this because he heard that Lewis knows all these part numbers and Lewis is good at fixing Macs and he'll give you information for free. And he would talk for like 45 minutes, just go on and on and on. And he would never just take an answer. He would always have to ask a follow-up and a follow-up and a follow-up. He could never do his own research. He was allergic to this. But, if he's like, okay, what screen do I get? Well, I can't get an LP154 WP1 TLA1. So what WP2 TLA1. So what should I do? I would say, well, you can get a B154 PW04V0 or a B154 PW04V4 or V6. But do not get a V3 because it has a different connector in a different place and is not compatible. And then he would say, okay, but what brand is that? You could have Googled it and found the brand. Like what website do I get it from? Is this place trustworthy? If I need to take out the screw at an angle, how do I do that? Okay, I need a 000 screwdriver by Weehaw, but where do I get a Weehaw screwdriver? Okay, well, I see a 000 with a hashtag. Is the hashtag what I need, or is it no hashtag? It's like, this man would spend like 45 minutes every other day in my store for almost a year just asking all these questions on how to fix his own stuff. He would bother me. He would bother my staff. He would not email when we asked him to email. He would always show up when there was a bunch of customers in the store, and he would actually get a grimace on his face if we spend too much time helping the paying customers rather than him. He never left a tip. It did not matter if there was a line of customers behind him. He would continue to ask questions rather than politely move aside and realize he was wasting a lot of time that could have went to the other customers. He was just a dude that was obviously taking advantage of the situation. And one day, here's the day that I decided enough was enough, is when he said that his friend had an issue and I'm not going to say the name of the business, redacted, fixed it for him, and did a decent job. And I said, how do you figure out about redacted? He's like, I told him about it since it was downstairs from my building. This man had been coming into my store for 1 year, getting free repair information, never said thank you, never said hello when he walked in, never left a tip, consistently had a grimace and a bad attitude if we helped a paying customer before him, and when he saw paying customers in the store, would continue to ask bullshit follow-up questions rather than do any of his own research, even after we spent 10 or 20 minutes helping him fix his own stuff. After all of this, he tells his friend to go somewhere else to get a repair done that is my direct competitor because it was 2 blocks closer. Are you fucking kidding me? So every single time this gentleman came in after that, I go, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I haven't really tried that. And you go, wait, what do you mean? Aren't you a repair shop? This is where you could tell the abuse part of the relationship would come in. He would essentially kind of try to play to my ego. Like, if you don't want to help me, you must be bad at what you do, to try and kind of poke me into giving him information and fixing his problems for free, in spite of the fact that he has never in 1 year ever returned the favor. whether with politeness or with money. He would say something like, oh, like, don't you know what you're doing? I'm like, I guess not, man. I'm sorry. After that day, it's like, yeah, sorry, don't know. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't really know the cross-compatible part numbers. Yeah, I'm not really sure what tool works there. I just kind of make it up as I go. And the funny thing is, the customers that were in the store, they knew I was BS. They knew I was just sick and tired of this guy. And at one point, he said, wow, man, you used to offer good service. Your service sucks now. He walked out, never heard from him again for the next 9 years that I was in New York City. I don't want people who are doing business with me to feel like they're being coerced or having their arm twisted because I'm the only source of this piece of information. And if they had that information, they would feel like they can make a choice for themselves. I realize most of my customers want me to fix their stuff. They don't want to figure it out on their own, but I don't want them to feel like there is an element of coercion. So I put everything out there for them for free and then try to make my service good enough that they still want to pay me anyway. I did not mourn this man never coming to my business again. I don't care because he treated us like crap and he never paid us. And when I say never paid us, I don't simply mean with his money. I mean with his respect or lack thereof, of his smile or his lack thereof, of his lack of courtesy for the other people in the store or for us when we were busy. This man, for a full 1 year, never showed us any courtesy. So when he left and stormed out because I wasn't helpful that day, do you think I cared what he thought of my service? Not really. He didn't pay us in money. He didn't pay us with time. He didn't pay us with respect. And he couldn't even pay us with referrals. He was a leech, a freeloader in the worst way possible. He couldn't even pay us with a fucking smile when he got thousands of dollars worth of free repair advice. Why do I care what he thinks of me? Conversely, from YouTube's perspective, if you are not the product, because again, as I said a few minutes ago, you guys are not giving Google any data. My audience is smart enough to know how to not give Google any data. You're not the customer because you're not paying them. What does Google gain from you using their service? Because this is the bizarre world I talked about in the last video. This bizarre world that we live in where companies with the insanely low interest rates and the insane environment we're in, people actually believe that the utilization of a service is payment for that service. If I have a club in New York City and I tell a band, you can play at my club, but the ability to play at my club will give you exposure to record label executives in the audience. So playing at my club is actually a payment for playing at my club. I can't agree with arguments that sound like New York City degenerate music industry scammer arguments, which are the arguments I grew up around when I spent 3 years working in the music business in New York City as a teenager. I can't listen to those arguments. I can't take them seriously. YouTube sees people that use ad blockers, canvas blockers, that don't sign in, that don't pay them for YouTube Premium in the same way. For YouTube, you are a net drain on their systems. You don't give them money. You don't give them ad views. You don't give them information, yet they give you bandwidth. They give you content. They give you their server resources. They give you everything that their company offers that cost them a lot of money to run. So they don't care if they give you a worse experience. And dare I say it, as the same way I have no problem with you utilizing an ad blocker when you come to YouTube or any website, simultaneously, I have no problem with them deciding we're going to make our service suck for you. Now, to be clear, if I were to actually break that gentleman's computer, if he was to give me his computer and ask for advice, and I were to sabotage it because I don't like him, that's wrong. The same way that Sony putting rootkits on their CDs so that if you tried to rip it, you got garbage on your computer was wrong, that's wrong. Sony's rootkit thing was wrong. If YouTube decides to fuck with your computer and install shit without your consent on your computer because they don't like that you're using an ad blocker and not using premium, that's wrong. However, if they simply make their website suck for you because you are not a paying user, you are not paying with your ad views, you are not paying with your money, you are not paying with your data, that's fair game. They're allowed to do that. They can make their service suck for you because they don't see any value in having you there because you are not a customer. In modern times, you are either a customer or you are the product. I would prefer that in my business model, people be my customer, not the product. But if you don't want to be the customer and you don't want to be the product, then there's really no problem in them looking at you and saying, you got to go. Now, is this a good business model? Probably not, because the internet tends to, if you tell the internet not to do something, they tend to push back. And if you push the internet off to try to get them to give you money, they're never going to give you money. Again, one of the reasons that I firmly believe in trying to answer all of my customers' questions, in showing my customers how to do everything for free, and answering as much as I can, and making everything as available, open, and transparent as possible, is if I try to piss my customers off into paying me, I know they will do the exact opposite. The reason my business has been successful all these years is I don't piss off my customer base. I give them a lot, and I ask nothing in return. In exchange for doing this, they tend to say, you know what? You've provided me with value. Thank you for trusting me with that value. I'm not even going to try to do this myself. Here's $200. Do it for me. It's worked very well for me. I don't think this business model is going to work well for YouTube. I don't think they're going to increase their revenue from this. I don't think they're going to increase ad views from this. I think it's probably going to be a net overall loss for their platform, the way they're going about it. But I can't be mad at them as if there's some sort of God-given right to watch a website and utilize their server resources when you are not watching the ads, not paying them, and not giving them the data. Is it okay to not want to give them all that? Absolutely. I'm not turning off my ad blocker. I'm not turning off my canvas blocker. I'm not turning off my pin blocker. And there's no way I'm going to be taking part in any activities that give more information to these rapey bastards in Silicon Valley. But yeah, I just can't read this stuff anymore. People are like, oh man, I have no idea why they're trying to make the experience worse. Why would they do that? Yeah, why would they make the experience worse for people that take their resources without providing them any value in return? I have no idea. Something goes off in my head. Again, when people say Sony rootkit, illegal, trying to install malware on your computer, illegal, trying to make one web browser work worse than your own web browser when you are a monopolistic video platform, illegal, making my service work crappier for people who don't pay me, not by installing malware on your computer, but just having a little piece of code that says, yeah, you got to wait 5 seconds. It's not a great business model, but that's fair game. Like when I read people saying that should be illegal, they have gone too... Why? Why is it illegal to make my service crappier for people that refuse to pay me? Should I be forced to continue to give that gentleman free information every single time he walks into my store for a year, in spite of the fact that he talks to my staff like shit, in spite of the fact that he never refers business and actually refers it to competitors, in spite of the fact that he is rude and an asshole every single time he enters my business and does not respect the rules of my establishment? I shouldn't be allowed to harm him. I shouldn't be allowed to just walk up to him and beat the crap out of him, but I should be allowed to give him shitty service. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.